Hello everyone, thanks for joining. Today we are going to have our next panel, which is going to be focused on innovations in Bulgaria. My name is Filip Batoev and I'm part of the team of Bosch.io here in Sofia. And together with me is my colleague Ivaylo Yanev.
Hello also from my side and welcome. Also welcome to our panelists, which they can introduce themselves. Kaloyan.
Okay, hello to everybody. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm Kaloyan Georgiev. I'm from Schneider Electric. So I'm responsible for the competency center here and the technical team, who is actually leading the innovation in our region. It's a Southeast Europe team, localized in Bulgaria, and I will be speaking about smart factories and smart things. So thank you for this opportunity.
Our next speaker today is going to be Pavel. Pavel, can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about you?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Pavel Dimov, company Robotics. We are in the furniture industry since 2006, doing digital solutions for automating the process in the furniture industry, mainly in Asia, North America, and Europe. And we're also doing automation projects together with KUKA as a system partner, again, in these continents, but again, focused mainly on the furniture industry.
Thank you. And we also have Vassil from ABB Online. Vassil, can you introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, Vassil Takev. I'm leading two departments in ABB, Robotics and Discrete Automation and Motion. And I hope that I'll be able to provide some nice information and good insights about robotization, automation in industry, and also automation of consumer segments.
Okay. Thank you. And our last panelist is Peter. Okay, he might have some difficulties joining, so yeah, I think that we'll continue forward, and if he joins, we'll be happy to hear also from his side.
Yes, he can jump in any time.
Yep.
So, let's start. Given the situation that we're all in with the pandemic, this obviously influenced a lot of the manufacturing industry. And we were wondering how exactly did this affect the manufacturing plants in Bulgaria?
So in Bulgaria, this is it has, of course, two sides. So one of the sides is, of course, the bad thing that happened to everybody. So a lot of places had to decrease the production or something. But also we have the good examples. For example, one of these things is, of course, our factory where it was just a good test of the smartification, if I may say like this. So Schneider factory gained the smart factory certificate in January, or something like this. So we pretty fast had the real test in March, and so we were able to continue about more than 70% capacity totally in automatic mode. So the thing that we had already done the automation actually proved to be a very good thing, and now we want to share this information with our other companies and to help them deal with the consequences of pandemic and lockdowns and so on.
70% is a significant number, and I'm sure our audience is going to love what you have to say. Actually, also from ABB side, what did this mean for you and your production plants?
Say adaptation, like for everyone. So whatever we do, it's a long term, and we just had to adapt to the different situation. It was not easy. It was simple. Just you adapt to change demand, to change requirements, and we also started to look for options that have been not uncovered in the past due to many reasons. It's the normal shortage of labor, the normal requirements for safety. So some changes will be done, but nothing that we didn't consider in the past. It was just a little bit faster adaptation to what we had to do in the next couple of years. So it is just the normal process. And again, the proper word is adaptation. We had very promptly to change the production process. We had very promptly to change the approach to some manufacturing. Yes, it opened the doors to some specific automation, really interesting. That was not in the radar recently.
And Kaloyan mentioned that they were already ready with this with the beginning of the year. And how fast did you manage to adapt to the situation? Did it take you weeks or months or even days maybe?
Let me say weeks. weeks. With many things we are ready, just because these are expected situations, not the pandemic. The fact that there will be no enough people, the fact that we will need to remove the, how to say, boring and heavy work from the people. Whether you keep distance between workers or will remove one part which is boring and frequently repetitive and unpleasant for the people, it is one and the same. So models, simulations, concepts, they have been ready. We just had to implement them. There is a little bit longer period to be sure that the investment is needed. That's a completely different story, because in the moment for every one of us is more or less difficult to understand and to be sure and to forecast what will happen in the next 12 months. But to take the simulations and the concepts from the drawer, it was just a matter of weeks, really, and to adapt them to the needs. Then implementation will take a little bit more time. But that's absolutely normal, because there is no technological process that could be shifted from manual to automatic within 1 week. We need to change the process per se, just as a process, in order to optimize it. So it will take a little bit more time. But it was quite fast. And it's fast for everyone. So if anyone says, for me it's complicated, no. It's not complicated. It's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple.
So it's pretty straightforward.
Yep. And it will be interesting for our audience to hear, do robots and autonomous systems help reduce production risk? So how did this happen into your company? So perhaps, Vassil, you can continue, and after that we can hear also our other panelists as well.
Just to be clear with the question, production risk by means of risking the capacity of production, or safety risk, or health risk? What kind of risk?
All kinds of risks. So how did it apply? But mostly with healthy risks with employees, and again with the production risk that you have into your company.
But we have absolutely valid standards since many years about production risk. So let me say, there is no pandemic that could harm the safety rules and safety protocols that we use. And I'm sure it is for every company of that time. So I'm sure also the colleagues in Schneider will say the same. So whatever happens, they have strict protocols what to do in order to ensure the safety of people and people health. More problematic is how to ensure, for instance, if you say we need to ensure distance, and distance means to take one person and to put it in another place, and this operation to be done automatically, that's an engineering risk. So typical manual operation cannot be replaced with a device just like that in a second. We are absolutely adaptive creatures, incredibly skillful, and there is no robot that could replace a person just by that. If the process is moving boxes from here to there, even in this case, we need to readapt the process. So that's the risk, that in order to apply some robotization, some automation or whatsoever, we need to check very carefully what will be the impact on the whole production process. It's not only in our factory, it's in every factory. And if anyone says that in a factory you can simply replace the worker with a robot without any risk, without any additional estimation, it is a trap. So within 3 months, they'll cry very, very, very strongly.
And Kaloyan, what about Schneider? Can you share a little bit more about what's happening in the company regarding how did robots and autonomous systems help to reduce the risk, the production risk, and also the healthy risk as well?
Yes, also as Vasco just said, so this is Schneider has pretty strong policy regarding safety. Actually, people safety is the first place of safety in the company. The second place is cybersecurity. So actually we have, this is like the best cybersecurity rules that I've seen. Actually in March, I think that one of the biggest car manufacturers in the world, actually they bought our whole policy regarding cybersecurity, like a finished product, meaning not like one antivirus software or something. The whole policy of educating people, of risk mitigation and so on. So like a big pack of documentation and knowledge. So we have it like a product. And so again, we were prepared, and we are mitigating the risk, first the physical risk regarding the people inside the company. With the robots, so we implemented robots on the places where we need repetitive or some hard work to be done, so which is harming the people physical health in the long term. So this is one of the places we use robots like mandatory and as fast as possible. And also, like Vasco said, we also have to not only to remove the person from the chair and put the robot. So we think a little bit forward, and we start changing the process. Then we put the automation in place. Okay. So, and even for the new lines, we plan for them to be autonomous with the ability to put a person inside, not vice versa. So this is one of the key things that we are using. And of course, one of the things that we should adapt to get this our smart factory certificate actually was to have a lot of robots communicating between themselves. So we had in place the collaborative robots from Universal Robots, and then we had one automatic car which is moving pallets in the factory. So now we are having more of them, so they're communicating between themselves. Everything that we did regarding this was to put additional traffic lights in the factory and so on, just to improve people's safety. But actually, this is how we are using all the robotization and automation, just for removing the painful tasks from the people, and then we don't fire the people. We just educate them, and we put them to more creative positions. So this is actually our company policy.
That sounds great.
And I'm guessing those automation that you're doing are also contributing to reducing human error during the work time, as well as probably boosting the overall production abilities of the factory.
Of course, yes. Thanks to automation, in the last maybe 5 to 10 years, we almost doubled the capacity of the factory. So regarding, so we kept most of the people. Actually, we downsized a little bit the human personnel, but it's just lack of space inside the factory because it's very full of machines. So we had like 800 people like 6-7 years ago. Now they're about 600, 700, something like this. So we didn't do the automation because of the people. So actually, yes, we have about 70% full automated process inside, and of course the result is pretty high productivity with close to 100% more than a few years ago. And this is thanks to automation, and of course the quality control is actually one of the highest levels in the Schneider world. So actually our factory in Bulgaria was able to take the load from some of the other factories in Europe which are less automated. And during the lockdown, most of the people couldn't go to work, and so the factory should close in some places. So we were able to take part of this load only with our automatic lines, without pushing our people to go to work. So we saved the day for many other factories, actually, for at least 5 of them in Europe.
This is amazing, and it's all thanks to the automation of the manufacturing. And Pavel, given that you represent one of the more successful manufacturings in Bulgaria, how fast did you manage to adapt to the situation, and what were the obstacles in front of the management when they were taking the decisions to do this?
Well, I can totally agree with the colleagues, and referring back to the previous discussions, I would like to add some more info about the digital part of the process, because we are coming from the software world, going into robotics as an integrator, and we're also working with a lot of really small and big to industry factories producing furniture. I totally agree that safety is important, but going back to the digital safety, we really seen many attacks on the digital environments of our customers in March and April, especially because people were converting their systems going online. I can agree with Vassil. Everything was more or less planned, sleeping projects. We also had all the systems in place, and we needed about a week to get online and work remotely. Of course, it was a bit painful in the beginning, but we adjusted everything, so now it's quite smooth. With most of our customers, we experienced the same. I mean, companies which already were planning automation, robotics, and digitalization of their infrastructure, they succeeded quite fast and they implemented all the new technologies because they had to. But with other companies, even big ones, not thinking about the digital safety of the environment. I've seen a factory in Germany, I won't say the name, but it's one, I would say, the biggest manufacturer of kitchens in Europe. They lost 2 days of the production, including robots and automation, because of a crypto virus, which cost them 4 million euros in 2 days. So you can imagine metal and robots and machinery, it's quite nice to have. Cannot replace people, I totally agree at 100%, because we also agree that we are putting a lot of automation, digital solutions, robotics to enhance the machines and add more value, more efficiency to the factories, but we're simply transferring the people to more manual operations, which cannot be automated so easily or cheaper. And especially assembly area, packing area, and also in the office, basically you put less people in production, but more people in the office controlling all those systems. So the Bulgarian factories, I would say, like the international ones, those which were prepared for automation, they succeeded quite fast. The others, I've seen factories releasing 200 people for 2 months and then hiring them back in the next 2 months. But you can imagine how painful this process is, training new employees again and again. And that was very disturbing, I would say, to the industry.
So guessing from a management perspective, this is also a cultural change within such a company.
Absolutely.
I mean, we know that this was a very big cultural change, even in the software work, where everyone had to leave the office and go home and somehow automate their work and start working remotely. I can't imagine even how this is in the world of a manufacturer.
Yeah, but when you say from management point of view, I can also add, it really depends on the managers. If the managers don't have a comfort zone sitting in their office and working nonstop from the office only, they know how to adapt quite fast. Me personally, I was traveling the last 8 years, 100, 150 flights per year. So I can work from absolutely everywhere. And our companies are also structured that way. We're shifting offices, workplaces, and so on. So it's really up to the management of the company. If they're flexible, the company is also flexible.
An adaptation.
Yep,
Yeah.
I think that this is important for all of us.
Yes.
Maybe just to add that, to say that we are working in that way since 2010, from literally everywhere and at every time. So it's not a problem. As Pavel said, it's a matter of management, not the manager itself, but the management in general. So absolutely achievable and possible. Sorry for jumping into the conversation in that way.
Don't worry. So regarding our next topic is, how did Bulgarian manufacturer manage to achieve such a rapid change in the production? Because we know that we come from the IoT world. IoT solutions most of the times are strictly out of the box. They're very innovative, very smart. Many of the IoT solutions offer retributing capabilities to older classical manufacturing machines. And most automotive solutions do require customization in order to operate. So yeah, basically, how did it do for you? And yeah. So yeah, Pavel, would you like to share a little bit more?
I can again repeat myself, sorry for that, but basically customers which already implemented and prepared themselves, they were quite fast and they didn't change anything. Everyone else, from our experience looking at the Bulgarian market, nothing really changed. I mean, they closed for a couple of weeks, the unprepared companies, I mean, and now they rely on the growth, because in the furniture industry in Europe, I would say most of the companies have significant increase in turnover compared to last year, even though they were closed for 2 months. Right now, most of the industry, I can say they have a growth of 30% compared to last year. So basically they have closed for a couple of weeks, opened again, and now they're working over capacity with the same technology, same management, same workflows. So I won't say that the Bulgarian manufacturers changed that much the process. all the automated ones continue to be automated. Can give you an example with a small family company in Russia. They are processing hundreds of orders per month, which are batch size one, completely non-standard, coming from the point of sale network. So basically, they work with Romania and Bulgaria. All the dealers are creating the orders for them, and the complete manufacturing process is fully automated. So there is no one in the office doing any cut drawings or CNC files and so on. These guys, they just increase their volume based on the technology they have. The rest, they didn't do any changes, I would say.
Kaloyan, you mentioned that you have, since this year, actually a certified smart factory in Plovdiv. What are the actual outcomes in terms of productivity, carbon footprint, and so on and so forth that you can achieve with such a smart factory?
So one of the good things is that we had this measurement of footprint and anything else as maybe 15, 20 years ago we started with this. Schneider Electric is one of the leading companies in the world in terms of the whole energy management solution, and so we are providing the solution for online energy everywhere. So we are actually using this and using our factory as a test. So here the test, as I mentioned, was successful, and the fact that we have the Smart Factory certification since the beginning of this year doesn't mean that we started to be effective this year. So actually we, at least as far as I'm 10 years in the company, so from the data I was here, we already had in place this system, and we are being measured inside Schneider and on like a global level every year regarding the footprint and energy waste. So we're pretty closely monitored. Every factory of Schneider is monitored centrally with some cloud solutions inside France in the headquarters. And we have targets which are pretty tight, and we have like internal competition between the factories. So this is like a long story for Schneider, and being smart actually means that we know where we spend first the energy, which is equal to money sometimes, and sometimes it's equal to waste, again in terms of money or carbon and so on. So when we have the smart part, we actually know exactly why some expense is made, and we can say how to mitigate this or how to make something better. So actually this is one of the key things. And the question how we manage the footprint and other efficiency KPIs actually is by knowing why this happens. And sometimes we have a 3-year plan, 1-year plan, 5-year plan, which is regarding reducing the footprint and or reducing the energy usage. So sometimes it's a matter of a big long-term investment. Sometimes it's like a change of lights with LED or something. So each year we have very small projects, but we don't stop, I think, never. So I think this is the key. When we have the before and after data, it's very easy for us to go to the management and to say, okay, we need this amount of money to achieve this result. So we have the data, we have the forecasts. It's AI based, so it's pretty close to the truth. So this is how we do it, and actually it's very successful up to now. So again, we are the first factory in Bulgaria with ISO 50001 regarding energy efficiency. So I think this proves that.
Amazing. And I'm also guessing that, speaking about Industry 4.0, you also managed to reduce a lot of the maintenance done on the machines with the predictive maintenance solutions that are sometimes implemented.
Yeah, actually now they're always implemented in the new machines. It's a must. In the old machines we retrofit them and we put some smart things. One of the solutions is called Augmented Operator Advisor. So everything which is in the cloud for Schneider is called Advisor because it's advising the customer how to proceed. So our Augmented Operator Advisor is the thing that is helping reducing about 30,000 euro per year by just man hours in labor regarding some unexpected stop of the machines. So this is a smart application which is put on a tablet. So when something happens, you put the tablet on the machine, and the machine itself is saying, okay, this is the trouble which I have, and there are some pop-ups on the screen. So when the operator clicks on the pop-up, it says step by step how to proceed to remove the error. and it succeeds in like 85-90% of the cases, which is preventing the maintenance people to go there and for this machine to be offline for 1 hour instead of 5 minutes. So only this productivity gain with this one software is gaining 30,000 euro per year of productivity and man hours. We copy-paste this solution to every our factory, of course, but here it was one of the first factories in Europe which we implemented the whole solution. And again, we're continuing with this type of advisors regarding asset management, life cycle management of the hardware itself, then data quality and big data analytics of the whole data we have together with forecasting. And now the software itself, it's entirely machine learning and AI based. It's in-house development of Schneider together with Microsoft Azure Cloud. So this software is saying, for example, okay, if you buy this product with this reference number, install it on this place in the factory, so we are going to save like 10% of energy waste. So this is just a PDF file with just checkboxes. So do this and you will gain this and so on. So this is, we just take these checkboxes and we start checking. So this is the level that we achieved because of Industry 4.0, IoT, and the whole automation that we have.
So Vasco, I'm also guessing that in ABB you also managed to reduce like downtime of machines and reduce maintenance in general with such predictive maintenance and predictive documentation.
Mainly we do it for customers, because you see, when we talk about discrete manufacturing, to stop the production is not so big deal. So you can stop with 1 hour without in fact impacting anything. But if you stop the process industry like metallurgy, chemistry, even food and beverage in some cases, food and beverage in a large scale, then it's a little bit more complicated. You cannot stop, simply you cannot stop. Just as an example, try to imagine copper manufacturing or steel manufacturing. If you stop it for a while, you need to throw away everything what is prepared till that moment. So we work mainly in that direction, not so much in manufacturing industry, but we are working in the direction of process industry, where predicting is the first step, just to know when something will happen, to assume. You cannot know with absolute clarity, but you can assume. And assuming when the failure will happen, to prepare everything in advance, so the undesired interruption to be short as possible. Of course, the idea is to close it to zero, to be very close to zero. It's never possible to be absolutely zero, but to go in that direction. So we work mainly in that field. We use, of course, artificial intelligence or different cognitive algorithms, and we use plenty of data acquisition in order to teach this artificial intelligence. Just by having the artificial intelligence, it's nothing. We need to provide the data. We need to explain to the IA what does it mean, those data, because IA doesn't understand them. And then to convert it into the reality by getting the information. Yes, this machine will fail on Wednesday next. On Tuesday, midnight, we need to be ready with everything. The service engineer, the service car, the spare parts, the access to site, and all the other things ready, so we can start repair immediately. So this is what we do. In our factories, in a matter of fact, a kind of an interruption is not so dangerous. Yes, we are prepared to react immediately, but even if the production stops for a while, it can, let me say, within 1 or 2 hours, we can repair everything and we can start again. And this will not harm in any way the manufacturing. While in process industry, where we are focusing our efforts, is completely different. Even as a let me say, a specific example, right on the edge, these are the thermal power plants. If you stop the boiler in a thermal power plant, that's a problem already, a real problem. Even media will understand it in a second. So this is what we do in that direction.
So what innovative services and processes have helped Bulgarian companies to stay active? So basically, what optimizations do you see also in the future that can help Bulgarian companies stay afloat and continue developing?
Pavel, maybe you can share a couple of words as a user of such services. What exact services and offerings did you implement? in automating your production throughout the years, not only now?
Well, I can add to the previous conversation because actually the words were data, AI, machine learning, and data acquisition in general. I mean, we're all changing, we're all working in the same direction, I believe. Data is very important, yes, and we implemented quite a lot of new machinery, controllers, and software solutions to gather all the data. Afterwards, of course, analyzing it. In our industry, I believe it's absolutely the same process. It's not like the process industry, as Vassil said, we can stop as well. But in the furniture industry, especially in Bulgaria, we have peak seasons. So summer is a peak season, and before Christmas time again. And predictive maintenance for us is quite important as well, because you cannot stop before Christmas. You know, everyone needs to get the furniture before Christmas. It's life-saving furniture. And we are also analyzing quite a lot of spare parts movements, maintenance tasks. One big issue we had as a company was the training of the technicians and field service technicians, actually, because it's one thing to get all the data, but training of our field service technicians is mostly done on site in Germany. And this year that wasn't possible. So we started 2 years ago working on a virtual reality and gamification platform. We are developing a system where field service technicians and machine operators can train themselves. As Kaloyan said, yes, we also have applications which are giving you all the errors and solutions in the factory, analyzing all the processes, giving you also predictive maintenance tips. But if you never seen this machine or robot, it's really hard to follow the text instructions. So we basically do a computer game where the operators and the field service technicians can play the scenario step by step. And we know for sure if they reach the final step, they know how to fix it, because otherwise they cannot really reach the final step. So this is something we are working on for the last couple of years, let's say 2-3 years. And it's quite helpful for us to maintain new machines, install new machines, and so on.
Everyone, from your experience, what do you see that usually Bulgarian companies, who do you see Bulgarian companies turning to when it comes to such solutions? Do they try to turn to local Bulgarian vendors, or they're usually turning to international verified vendors, even though they're probably more expensive?
Actually, we see like I see, at least in my experience, two big trends. Of course, it's a mixture sometimes, but like one of the trends is that smaller companies search for smaller companies because they're more flexible, maybe more cheap, and sometimes people know each other. After all, it's Bulgaria, so it's not that many people inside. But bigger companies, especially international companies, they tend to use, of course, other big companies. And this is, I think, mostly because the need of a long-term service contract, which not every time a small Bulgarian company or local company can ensure. So actually, this is the two big separation, the two big sides of the separation. And of course, there is a lot of mixes. Many big companies start looking for local vendors, which is good for our economy, I think. And this is like a good sign for big businesses, like saying, okay, we see that in Bulgaria there are good engineers and so on. So this is like one of the good signs. Big companies hire smaller companies for specific tasks. But if we speak about long-term total service contract, we still have this case that bigger companies tend to use big companies. And I think this is the case. And one of the key things that enables all of these to be like a reality is the availability of kind of all companies to have some kind of digitization. So these lockdowns and everything actually helped most of the companies to make the first step, which is very dangerous to many companies. They're afraid of it, just to go and to start collecting data. Then, so this is actually, if we have the data, as also as Pavel said, if we have the data, so we have a foundation. So we can make preventive, reactive, machine learning, and so whatever maintenance we need. but we need to have this ground. So having this, then we start to see the mixture of solutions.
Vasco, you like being part of ABB, you are way into the world of collecting data from a hardware level. Do you see a lot of companies in Bulgaria turning into big worldwide vendors, or they're still searching for local opportunities more?
It depends on the investment. So we need to look from the financial perspective. If you need to invest 7 million, you'll find a company that can process 7 million and can manage 7 million. It's not because the company is not skillful enough. It's not because the company has no experience or technical knowledge. It's just the financial matter. So when we talk about large investments, normally customers, they look for a large vendor, financially large, that has habits with managing such kind of projects from the financial perspective. Pretty often, let me say, just as an approach to the market, pretty often what we do, we work with partners, and partners, they work with the end customers. But if we take large projects like the one in Amilum, the contract is directly between Amilum and ABB just because of the financial side. But when financially it is manageable by the local vendors, it's a matter of size. It's nothing good or bad. It's just a matter of size. When it is financially manageable, I can say that the local customers here and industrial companies, they prefer to work with local vendors. There are many reasons for that. It is the speed of the reaction and the reaction time in general. Even the communication. It's not only the language, but also the habits, the way of leading the communication. It is the traditions, the history with a given supplier. So more and more local companies, they prefer local end customers, they prefer local vendors, and it's great because the Bulgarian companies, especially system integrators, engineering companies, OEMs, installers, they have an incredible set of skills. Just think about through what they have went in the last 20 years or 25. Several financial crises, problems with supplies, lack of money, or whatever, but they survived. They succeeded to deliver excellent results going through that. And customers, they know it and respect it. Just to answer the question, whenever it is possible and whenever financially is not a problem, they prefer to work with the local vendor. Thank you.
And one interesting topic, our friends from Para have designed one very interesting survey regarding the activities that companies would like to automate in the future. So Kaloyan, can you please share with us, from your point of view, what is Schneider going to automate in the future as a process, and how do you see this automation as well?
So regarding Schneider, I almost mentioned that we are focused on the people, so we want to fully automate the non-ergonomic and hard operations, which are physically exhausting for the people, or the repetitive operations, which are like devastating to the mental side of the people. So this is like the two focus points. And this is our first priority, and then we free the time of these people to be more creative. So if I should answer it in one sentence, this is the case. And then all the automation regarding data analytics, because as we have seen with other people also here, we have the data. Most companies have the data, but they need to invest a lot in the analytics and getting the results and getting the most of the data. So this is the second step, is investing in automation and of decisions based on the data and forecasting. So this is the key investment in Schneider Global, not only locally. So Schneider is a company with 200,000 people worldwide. So we have a lot of factories, a lot of people, and we first invest in the physical and mental health regarding automating these tasks, and then we invest in the development and future readiness of the company by automating the data collection and analytics.
And Pavel, what about you? Can you share regarding your company, what do you have plans for optimization and automation in the future as well?
I totally agree with Kaloyan. We are also working on repetitive tasks, of course, and bigger components which are heavier to lift. These are the the basic robotic applications which we are developing. But our main focus is also AI and machine learning, because we have a lot of data and we have to process it. I would say comparing the markets, it's more connected to the previous question about local vendors or international. For us, it doesn't really matter if we work with a Bulgarian or a company in Africa or North America. But if you compare China, for instance, what is a bigger problem, to find people to lift and package furniture components, or to process 28,000 customer orders per day? I mean, can you imagine drawing all the parts for every single order? That's a much bigger problem than packing those furniture. And we are, as I said, we are focusing two areas. One is digitalization of all the processes, which is actually leading to many errors. It's saving a lot of cost if you do it properly, and also improving the product, the end product. And the other one is, of course, the big guns in the factory, doing a lot of automation projects, robotics, etc. But I would say our experience from the Asian market is helping us quite a lot, because in the furniture industry, the worst manufacturers I've ever seen are in the USA and Canada. I mean, maybe the best companies are there, but our industry is not so developed. And the most demanding customers are in Asia, where the volume is so big, you cannot even start without processing all the data first, analyzing it, and then moving to automation projects.
Our next question: what are the possibilities for optimization through IoT solutions? So, Vasco, can you please share from the point of ABB, how do you see IoT as the future of optimization, and what solutions do you think are applicable for?
It is absolutely simple. So let me make the differentiation. So Industry 3.0 means that we are, if we look at the definitions, was described with very massive acquisition of data. These are the SCADA systems, DCS systems. So we have automation in place. The IoT will change only one thing. It is the speed and easiness through which the information is exchanged. And data, of course, not only information, but also raw data, how they will be exchanged. So this will be changed, in a matter of fact. How fast we exchange information, how fast we exchange details, how fast we collect those details. So having more devices connected, we'll have easier acquisition of data, we'll have easier exchange of data, and you'll have faster reaction. So this will be the impact. It will boost the speed. The problem will be the security on the other side. If you look at the industry, most of the companies, they say no information, no data will leave our premises. They need to stay here, and it's a problem that we need to solve. Not we as ABB, but everyone who is in this field. And here it's not about to talk whether it is a Microsoft Azure or something else. Just the users, they say we don't trust to the cloud, and we don't trust to the security. So it's a problem that we need to solve. As soon as we solve it, as soon as we convince the users that their information is secured and their data is secured, then IoT will just boost the speed. On consumer side, not on when we talk about business to customer, business to consumer, it will boost the speed through which we become satisfied with what we need. I need an information where I have a parking space with a charging station. And instead of digging into my phone 5 minutes, I get it within 5 seconds. Excellent. So this will be IoT, because then cars, charging stations, they'll exchange information. In industry, it is how fast the reaction will come. Something happens, how fast the reaction will pop up. I'm missing a spare part, how fast the vendor knows that this spare part should be manufactured and delivered. That's the biggest change, according to our perspective.
Seeing even more and more unification of technologies such as artificial intelligence and Internet of Things. Within Bosch, we started calling this AIoT, and I'm guessing quite a lot of companies are becoming dependent on these technologies and unifying them into one single product and service that they're using. I'm sure in Schneider you have many solutions that are trying to that you're using to optimize or to reduce risk or just to automate your production and your processes?
Yeah, actually, I completely agree with Vassil. So he actually mentioned that the possibility is the speed. I could say that possibilities are actually everything when you have the data and when you have the speed. So actually, we don't have the limit of anything. And yeah, in Schneider we have, of course, everything is connected, and every product manufactured in the last at least 5 years and more is totally connected and Ethernet enabled and IoT enabled and so on. So again, the purpose is to have the data, and now we are moving towards almost the same issue that customers, especially in Bulgaria, I think in Europe it's a little bit better. They don't trust clouds, and but we are going okay, doing well. I think I don't know if our here the viewers they know one company in Bulgaria. I always give it as an excellent example. It's Electrostart, so it's a Bulgarian company. They went all in like a full cloud solution in I think 2015 or something. So they said, okay, from today the SCADA solution, the accounting team, everything is cloud. So the whole company is fully cloud. So and they did it just like this, and so I admire them for this. So we have these examples, and we have of course the other side. And but we're working with our customers. This is the reason that we all actually solutions we have, we implemented in the factory here because it's in Bulgaria, it's local. The lady which is the manager of the company also, she is Bulgarian, and she is pretty nice. When she speaks with our partners, actually they start to see the Bulgarian viewpoint. This is also something that Vassil mentioned, that Bulgarians tend to believe to Bulgarians, so this is easier to work. And we're using this factory as showcase how it should be done, and we prove the results every day. And not only IoT, also machine learning. Also we put the whole like cap on everything. So we say this is called eco-structure in Schneider. So we say the whole thing that is talking to each other and sending data and managing data, it's eco-structure. So we show this, and we use the factory to show it every day. So I think everybody can visit the factory if they want. We have in our website there is a sign-in form, so they can come and visit us. It's open, so they can see in real life the IoT.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so from our point of view, I also check some of the questions from the survey from which our friends from Para provided. So regarding the future, what is your main drive in investment in robotics? In which area, and how do you see it? Because regarding the people that attended the survey, most of them would like to increase the quality and to have cost optimization. And basically, how do you see IoT helping in all of this?
By robotization, we see again we go a little bit from people perspective first, and then from the business point of view. Of course, quality is not an option, so we are tending to increase the quality of the production. But as I mentioned, the first operations we are going to robotize and automate and invest. So this is the things that are heavy or not ergonomic and so on. So I think most of companies start with this by putting like the label that it's also connected to production. Because when people are not tired and they work okay, like they increase the quality. So it's for me it's side effects, and but we are actually investing in the people safety, and then by this we ensure better quality, better productivity, and so on. So as a manufacturer, I think for everybody this is the bigger volume and better quality and more satisfied people. I think it's the end purpose of any investment. So we can put this like. Total.
Yep. And Pavel, what about you?
Yeah, I agree with Kaloyan. I just wanted to add that heavy lifting, of course, and repetitive tasks, this is something we're also automating for years, but we are seeing that the biggest bottleneck, because in furniture industry, you can have a complete connected line. Most of them don't have robots actually in machinery. Or very popular these days are island solutions, and especially brown area where we already have existing factories. We're just adding some robotic cells. The biggest issue we are facing is the transport of the components to these cells. So we are actually going to focus us in the next couple of months in automated guided vehicle systems, of course, IoT for the complete factory and connection with the machines. I mean, transport is something that we always leave as a last step, but again, you need the data from the office to operate with the machines. You need the data for the robots, and you need a very, very good management and structure for the workflows to get those HV systems in place. I just wanted to add something about IoT. Don't forget, Bulgaria has a very big advantage because of the internet connection. I mean, we have really, really nice internet connection, and I totally agree, cloud-based solutions everywhere. We have the issue that the CAD/CAM systems require GPU processing, and the clouds are quite expensive at the moment in this area, but that will change, I believe. But our worst example, or worst customer we have is in London. So London internet connection is much, much worse than Bulgaria, and we have to use that advantage.
And it will be interesting also for our last panelist, Georgi. I think that we can already hear you pretty well. Can you please share some insights regarding TEDBET and basically how you see robotization and automatization in your company? I think that Georgi, can you hear us?
We lost him, I believe.
I think we lost him.
I think that every good example of good internet in Bulgaria has sometimes it's bad version, like seeing the communication with Georgi, but yeah. So continuing forward, if you have any question from the audience, I'll be happy for them just to write them so that we can answer them and see what they think and if they have any questions towards our panelists. Otherwise, I'm sure that we can think of some interesting information that we can provide them till the end of this panel.
Also, another coming back to the topic with the security, I'm just wondering from your point of view, because when we're involved into working with customers and when we're talking to security, of course, a lot of times we're hearing this: we want our data to be safe, and we need it to be confidential. So we offer them solutions that are either installed privately on their private cloud, which is on premise, or we're sometimes using hybrid solutions. For example, for Schneider, how often do you need to implement stuff privately for you, or in hybrid mode?
For now, I think when we speak about the banking sector, it's like every time. I think we have some solutions there, and so this is the case. For industries, it's like maybe in 60–70% of the cases, they say we can share like some small amount of data or some non-sensitive data or non-production data, mainly consumption of water, electricity, and so on, could be shared, and they're okay with the results, they like it, and so on. But as I mentioned, this is a nice first step, so it's not totally disastrous result. And still, as a Schneider Insight, we're a cloud provider together with Microsoft and so on. Even in Schneider, still some of the policies in some of the countries are restrictive regarding the data in the cloud. So I understand our customers, I see the reasons behind, but again, I will say that we use the factory in Bulgaria, we have full control here, and we have, of course, internal policies we have to adjust according to, but we have still the flexibility and the decision making here, and this is why we're using anything we can, including the cloud solutions. So again, I think it's a matter of time. Maybe if they hack Facebook another time and some millions of people's data leave the company and so on, it will not help. But I think we use hybrid solutions also. We put in place many local versions of the cloud solutions. We lose some flexibility, but we gain confidence in the customer, so we build up slowly. Maybe in the last 5 years we have been doing this, and now we are, after 5 years, we have some results with the same customers. They start to believe, they see that their data is still private, and so we build on this. So it's a slow process. Maybe another lockdown will increase the speed, but I don't know. So
the benefits of pandemic.
Yep.
Yep. So I would like to thank everyone for joining this panel today. It was a real pleasure being here together with all of you. The next panel will start roughly in the next 5 minutes when there will be a Q&A session. And yeah, our next speaker will lead it. So thank you very much to everyone for joining, and have a nice break for the next 5 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
you.